Hello from Houston. This is your favorite French realtor. And today, in our series about zip codes, we are going to talk about 77018, which is northern part of the Sixton Loop. It covers Garden Oaks and Oak Forest. Hello. So today we're going to talk about Garden Oaks. Now that is another gorgeous neighborhood that we have in Houston. It's got winding roads. It's wooded. It's like a little village, and all the streets are going, right and left and curving. It's really cute. It's also got ditches, but we're not going to talk about that. It has fairly little through traffic. Of course, there are, major thoroughfare on the edges of it. But it's fairly quiet. Lots of people walking through that neighborhood all the time. It's really a gem, and it's definitely worth checking into. So that would be Garden Oaks. Also, the beauty of Garden Oaks, from a real estate standpoint, I suppose, is that the average lot in Garden Oaks is around 75, 80 feet wide. And I talk about lots a lot because I want to bring to your attention that in Houston, a subdivision lot is 5,000 square feet, 50 by 100. So whenever you can get into an area that's got 70, 75, 80 feet wide lots, and they are 100, 125, 150 deep, then we start talking here. This is Texas, and Texas is all about the land, right? So in Garden Oaks, there is a Montessori school. And before we go to the next neighborhood, I want to talk a little bit about Montessori. My daughter actually went to Montessori. She started at 2. She did Montessori for 3 years, and then she went into kindergarten. And my personal experience, or I should say my daughter's personal experience with Montessori was nothing short of amazing. So Montessori is a teaching method that originated in Italy in 1907, so that was a long time ago. And the method revolves around activities that are basically available for the children to take part in, but then the child decides what he wants to do any given day or any given afternoon or morning. Now, obviously, there is supervision from the teachers, and the teachers are trained for Montessori, for the Montessori method, of course. So the teaching techniques are unique. The teaching tools are unique. I remember the pink cubes, for instance. I remember the sandpaper letters, and I remember the beads. So my daughter was, 4 years old, 4.5, and she could count until, 150, 200. I mean, it was pretty amazing. By the time she was 5, I know I'm boasting here, but that's okay. By the time she was 5 and she entered kindergarten, she knew, not only did she know her alphabet, but she was reading at first grade level, so that was kind of cool. She knew all of our continents, and I remember all this. Now, please bear in mind, I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, right? But that really made an impression on me. That Montessori system really worked well on my daughter, and I'm very grateful for that. So anyway, so that was Montessori. So we just talked about Garden Oaks, Oak Forest. Now, Oak Forest is basically kind of alongside Garden Oaks. And the thing to know about Oak Forest is that there are 2 major sections. There is east and there is west. And the dividing line here is West TC Jester. The thing about Oak Forest is that only part of it is in 77018. It is so huge. It's got 17 sections. It is so huge that it actually has another zip code, 092. Okay, so that's how big it is. I think that's kind of interesting. So it was very spread out. TC Jester. So TC Jester, off of West TC Jester, there is a park, the TC Jester Park. And that's a very, very nice park. And it's very long because it goes along the bayou that's there. So what you have there, where you have a recreation center, you have playground, you have biking and jogging trails. You also have a dog park. And you have, are you ready for this? Disc golf. So this show is about art, food, and real estate in various zip codes. But today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of an art section, I'm going to do a sports section. Okay, so bear with me. And the sports section is going to be about disc golf, which 2 years ago I had absolutely no idea it existed. And then I played it and I liked it. Now, I'm not going to tell you I played it very long because let me tell you, it's very difficult and it requires a lot of walking in between holes, which are not holes, they are baskets. Anyway, but what I did find out though, because, I dig and I dig and I dig for content for these little shows. And it takes me in directions that, frankly, I didn't know it would. So I looked up the guy who came up with the idea of disc golf. And to say the truth, there are some characters there that had definitely a lot of input into the sport. But it's kind of difficult to figure out exactly when that started. What we do know, though, is that the same person who invented the Frisbee, who patented the Frisbee, also patented the basket, the pole, whatever that thing is called, that you basically throw the Frisbees in. So it's kind of interesting, I think. And all of this was in the 70s in the US. And I understand that in some states, especially in the North, apparently, disc golf is a big deal. So if you want to look into this, or if you already do play, then know that there is a nice 9-hole course at the TC Jester Park. So you should definitely look that up. Okay, now we're going to talk about food, my favorite subject. Well, one of my favorite subjects. All right, so in 018, alongside, for the most part, alongside 43rd, which would be kind of at the top of the neighborhood, there are several options that are quite good, and I have tried them all. So the first one is Plonk. So I remember the first time I went to Plonk, and this is the kind of stuff that makes an impression on me, okay? So I know it's a little bit strange, but there it goes. So I go to Plonk a few years ago, and I ordered, what did I order? I'd like to say cassoulet, but I'm not sure. But it was something with beans and sausage and such. And they brought it in a mini Le Creuset pot with a mini lid on top of it. So the Le Creuset thing was about this big. Le Creuset, you know what Le Creuset is, right? I hope you know what Le Creuset is. Anyway, these are the best, absolute best pots to cook in, is what they are. So they had mini Le Creuset, and they would just bring them individually to people at the table. And I thought that was just too cool. It's so nice. And I would go back to Plonk just because of Le Creuset, right? But that's me. But the food is quite good. They only open for dinner. But I would definitely recommend it. Plonk, it's on 43rd. And then there are two venues on 34th. The first one is Les Baguettes. So we have a variety of really cool little Vietnamese restaurants in this town, and I am a big lover of banh mi. I love me a Vietnamese sandwich. I really, really do. Really do. And the other thing that I really, really like in a Vietnamese restaurant is the Vietnamese coffee. And I'm chuckling because Vietnamese coffee, that's coffee with condensed milk. I don't know if you've ever had condensed milk, as in straight out of the can. So you need to picture this. Being raised in France, and condensed milk comes in all kinds of different types of containers. So picture a toothpaste tube, right, about this big, except that instead of toothpaste, it's condensed milk. And then picture kids basically having one of those in their hands tilting their head back and just squeezing the content of that entire tube of condensed milk into their throat. Yeah, good times, good times. I am a big fan of condensed milk. Needless to say, it's not something you should definitely eat often, certainly not every day, but oh my God, condensed milk. So that's the reason why I like Vietnamese coffee, because there is a lot of condensed milk in it. There it is. Last but not least, when it comes to food in 018, you want to check out Slowpoke. So Slowpoke is a little coffee house, but they also serve wine. They have sandwich. They have food. And the one thing that they have, which is very attractive, I think, every day after 4 o'clock, if you go to Slowpoke, and Slowpoke is on West 34th, you can have a bottle of wine for $25 and a special on a charcuterie board. So see, there are some magic words like that in the French language. Okay, Boudin might not be one of them, but champagne is one of them. Foie gras is another one. Condensed milk definitely is one for me. But I would say charcuterie board, that's a magic word. When it's done well, that's really, really good. So again, after 4 o'clock every day, go check it out. You'll be happy you did. All right, so we did sport today, instead of art. That's okay. And then we did food. Of course, we did food. So now we're going to talk about real estate in 77018. Basically, I go over, the thing about subdivision lots. So anything bigger than 50 by 100. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's kind of important. At the end of the day, remember, I'm in real estate, and it's all about the land. Why? Because the land doesn't move, right? Everything else, you can move a house, I suppose, but the land is the land is the land. So how much land you can get for your money is definitely very, very important. So both in Garden Oaks and Oak Forest, the size of the lots is a definite factor. What's a definite factor also in Oak Forest are the schools. Now, realtors cannot give you information on schools or recommend a school versus another or recommend a neighborhood based on the schools. We cannot do that. Why? Well, there's a variety of reasons. One of them is that, school ratings, attendance change constantly, so we can't do that. What we will say is go see the school, go visit the school, and get a feel for what they do. That being said, there is a school in Oak Forest that's very, very sought after, and it is called, conveniently enough, Oak Forest Elementary School. And I will tell you this, a home, exact same home in non-zone to Oak Forest and zone to Oak Forest, there will be a difference in price. Absolutely. And those brand new homes that were built in the last 10 years on large lots, those 3, 4, or 5,000 square foot homes that are zoned to Oak Forest Elementary, they go for, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million. So Oak Forest is definitely getting up there. So that's what schools are about, why they might be important. And even if they're not important to the person who buys the house for their own personal use, they may be important for resale. So food for thought. This concludes our segment on 77018. Thank you for being with us. I love talking about zip codes. I love this town. I really love this town. And we have so many good neighborhoods and fantastic zip codes to choose from. So let us know if you have any ideas of other zip codes you would like me to look into, because I'd be happy to do that. Until then, thank you for being with us. And until we meet again, au revoir.